Florida's been looking for a quarterback aside from about a half a season out of Will Greer about 5 years ago. They've been looking for a quarterback for like 12 years, and Jack Miller's headed that way. They lose Anthony Richardson just for this bowl game. He's preparing for next season. Decided to have surgery to get started on spring ball for next year. Emory Jones in Ohio State, he actually did commit to Ohio State, correct?
Yes.
Of course, he's putting on his audition in the bowl game. So another nuance to bowl games now, that we have players who have decided to transfer, but they're still going to play their final game for their previous school or their current school before transferring. And shoot, there's talk that he may be shaking hands with Gus Malzahn at midfield after the bowl game, talking to him about whether he's going to move on to UCF. Anyway, without Dylan Gabriel, who's gone on as a quarterback to UCLA. That said, Tony, the prospects of Jack Miller being a starting quarterback at the SEC level.
Yeah, well, and our guy Bill Green at BuckeyeScoop.com had said, I don't know, a week or so ago that things were, they zeroed in on him pretty quickly. Florida did, once Jack Miller hit the portal. And so it was, I guess he was very receptive to that. And really it goes back to what kind of style of offense is Billy Napier going to play. And it's going to be, I think, quite different than Dan Mullen's, which requires a quarterback who can run. At Louisiana, they had a quarterback that could run, but wasn't necessarily a runner per se. Jack Miller can run. We saw him do that at Ohio State. He picked up like a 24-yarder last year and is mobile enough to handle some of the running if you need him to run 2 or 3 or 4 times a game or just to get out of trouble. But if it's between running the ball or wanting your quarterback to run 8 or 10 times a game, you stick with Anthony Richardson because he can handle that. But he has to become safer with the ball, which you would expect him to do after a year, half a year, or 4 or 5 games of starting, whatever he's had this year. Just the experience he's had, he'll be better for it next year. But these are two pretty different guys, and it's really a matter of what does Billy Napier want, and the fact that he went out right away to get Jack Miller kind of makes me think he's leaning that way.
Kevin, anything on Jack Miller's prospects?
Yeah, I don't disagree there. I mean, if you sit there and you make that immediate move, and I know that a lot of the quarterback dominoes have already started to fall into new camps, but Florida suddenly emerged in terms of the Jack Miller sweepstakes. I mean, the first I heard of it was, again, when Bill Green had mentioned it over on Buckeye Scoop. But, I'd heard Ole Miss is a potential location for Jack Miller, heading back to one of the Arizona schools or at least being close to home at that point. And then all of a sudden, the way that Florida came in, I mean, you don't make that move just saying, well, we're going to bring you in and we'll see what kind of comes out of that. I think that it's, as long as you come in, you do the work, I mean, you've got a great shot at being the starter. So, I mean, I would not be surprised to see Jack Miller being the guy there, year one, game one of the Billy Napier era in Gainesville.
I like Miller. I think he could have flourished in the right situation. I think he could have been a player at Ohio State had the things worked out the way you would have thought. But, only he knows how good he is or how much confidence he has and where he sees himself. It was obvious he was behind Kyle McCord because McCord was the next guy up when the Akron game came and they needed somebody to play. So, I don't know. I guess maybe that cinched his decision at that point, and the off the field problems he had after that may have moved it further in that direction. But it's too bad. You want all of these kids to have the best experience they could have, and to find the success that they want to find at the school that they choose. And it's unfortunate that the success rate that we are seeing out of these kids is dwindling and dwindling with each passing day. And it used to be 60, 70%. And now it's probably down around 50%. And it's just too bad that for one reason or another, kids are just not finding what they're looking for at their first choice. And so many of them are going into the portal. And I'm not going to label anybody taking the easy way out or anything like that. I think it's just unfortunate, the whole thing. And, fans of our sport, I see a lot of disillusionment with the people that it's hard to follow a team when you don't know who any of the players are. And, when there isn't that two-way allegiance, I give it to you, you give it back to me type thing. So I don't know. But the television ratings are still as high as they've ever been. And maybe that's all that matters in this day and age.